Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhairagale ni hama chune shume washmale oha gonzaimas. Guten Morgen. And hi, hugs and hellos to everybody who's tuning to PD World and watching World this morning alongside Shazad and Maha. Hello, Maha. How are you?
Hello Shazad, hello everyone. I'm very good today. Assalamu alaikum as well. Shazad, we have a very important week this
Yes,
week,
it is
right?
a very important week, but a voice like this, I do
I
not
know it's
know how
how.
to do justice with it.
Okay, well, we're going to give you some home remedies afterwards, like ginger and lemon tea and stuff like that. So you will be, raring to go in no time.
Thank
But
you for
while
that.
you have a sore throat, I'm going to take the opportunity to talk a lot.
Go
So
ahead.
basically, this week we're going to be observing, as we know, 25th of December is coming up very soon, and that is the birthday of our founder of the nation, Qaid Azam. And we are going to be sharing memories, quotes, and just ways of life that are inspirational for every Pakistani. And we need to remember this day to day. And I'm so glad that PTV World has decided to actually push forward with the quotes because we need to make it relevant. We need to put it in the now. And the youth of
Exactly.
today, everyone talks about how they love Qaid Azam and how he was a really good example of how Pakistani should be. But the youth don't actually truly know.
That's fantastic, man. You've made a wonderful point over here. And as a matter of fact, the thing is now, for example, all over the world, or all over the globe, or whatever have been happening in our history, the thing is that leaders have always been a source of inspiration.
Exactly.
Whatever they say, the speeches. I mean, for example, for a leader in Pakistan over here, they actually have to, probably look forward to, or go back with all of those archives where Qaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah made his speeches, for all the wise words he said. And we need to take our lessons out of it. This is what we have decided. So throughout the week, what we're going to do is we're going to share his quotes, all those wise words with you guys. So today we have got a quote to share. Let's take a look what it is.
Okay, with faith, discipline, and selfless devotion to duty, there is nothing worthwhile that you cannot achieve.
Once again, with faith, discipline, and selfless devotion to duty, there's nothing worthwhile that you cannot achieve.
And I think this is
Fantastic.
exactly, and this is really important. You keep hearing it, but then when you hear it from someone who actually created a nation for a minority that was being persecuted,
Yeah.
it really gives you hope, especially with the current situation of the world right now. So, the thing is not to lose hope and to keep going. And it is the youth. They're not the solution for the future. They are the present.
Yes.
And, we need to kind of respect that.
And it's not just for all of those people who are out there. It's for all the institutions who are out there. It's for all those, macroeconomic institutions as well. It's for everybody.
Exactly.
And
Everyone should remember.
yeah, and even on a very micro level, for a person who's dedicated to do something. I mean, when there will be selfless devotion, only then you'll be able to achieve it. And this is what we are going to do today as well.
Exactly.
Anti-narcotics force has been working for so long now in Pakistan, and they have tremendous achievements. But recently they did something which actually needed dedication, motivation, and selfless devotion as well.
Exactly, and it ties in perfectly because the youth of today do need some guidance and they do need some kind of. So one thing that we have noticed, unfortunately, and what all the doctors say is that there has been an increase in drug uses, especially within the teenage years and in the high schools. So what we're going to be discussing is on Friday there was a drug
Drug
burning
burning,
ceremony
yeah.
that was held by the anti-narcotics force, and we've got their representatives here, the youth ambassadors actually. So we'll ask them how they got involved, what are they doing, what is the situation on ground level, and we're not going to be oh everything's great because people are using drugs. We need to raise awareness for it, and we need to also show parents and the society and communities how can we, channel kids' energies into other things.
Exactly. And Maha, the best part is that what anti-narcotics force has done is that they have actually picked up people who represent the youth of Pakistan, and then
Yes.
they have made them fall under a category which says drug demand reduction.
Okay.
So in the first place, what they're doing is that they're taking precautionary measures that the demand gets reduced.
Okay.
But then other than that, there might be other things, and these representatives will be able to answer it or not. But I'm going to ask all of those hard talk questions which I'll have in my head.
Yeah, and the medicine that one of our producers gave to him seems to be doing the job. So let's get the show started.
If I can get one more, I think I'll be better.
Okay, let's not give him one more. Let's kidding. Okay, so we've been joined by Sidra Akhtar. She is a clinical psychologist. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum
Thank
salam. Thank you
for
so
joining
much.
us. Besides Sidra, we have been joined by Kinza Mumtaz. She is a youth ambassador for the Anti-Narcotics Force. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum assalam,
Thank
good
you for
morning.
joining us today.
You're welcome.
Besides Kinza, we have been joined by Neelam Naz, who is also a student and a youth ambassador for the Anti-Narcotics Force. Assalamualaikum, good morning.
Hello guys, Assalamu
And
alaikum.
from now on, I'm going to say ANF because it's a bit of a tongue twister for me.
Yeah, it's perfectly all right. You can say whatever you feel like. But now, Kinza will start the conversation with you. Let us know about the ceremony which was being held on Friday. And, you know, as per your record, you're saying that it was worth $120 million of drugs which was being burned. Are you sure?
Yes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Well, starting from the drug burning ceremony, it was held on Friday. And yes, it was of about 50 metric tons of about,
50 metric tons,
yes,
oh
50
my
metric tons and tons drugs, and which were about 150 US, according to US
150
dollars,
US
152 million
Okay,
Oh my
wow, that's
God.
amazing. Okay, now, okay, that's great. That was the amount, but what were you guys doing? Why did you do it? So tell us the reason why you were doing it.
Basically, the drug burning ceremony is arranged by anti-narcotics force every year, and in this drug burning ceremony, besides burning drugs, there was a whole program for youngsters as well as there were students from different universities, colleges, and schools as well, and members from UNODC country
and we've
head,
got the
RDG.
Okay, we've got the pictures. Okay, we'll talk about who was there, but what was the significance? I mean, you guys, every year they do a drug burning ceremony.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why?
Because we want to show that what is actually ANF doing. They actually seize drugs from different parts of the country, and then they arrange that drug burning ceremony to show the world that what ANF is doing.
Okay, right. Okay,
Yeah.
so now let me move on to Neelam. You are a youth ambassador. So apart from the drug burning ceremony, what else was happening on Friday?
Okay, starting from a slight overview of anti-narcotic force, there are basically the three main areas of ANF. One, first is DDR, second is DSR, and the third is international coup. Starting from international coup, under international coup segment, ANF has signed MOUs with 32 countries. ANF is the active part of UNODC, United Nations Organization for Drug Control, with other countries, we are cooperating with the world to make the whole world a drug-free world. The second work area is drug supply reduction, and this drug burning was a part of that. Like we have
reduction.
seized drug this year, like that was worth of more than 800 million US dollars.
Wow.
Yeah, and
That's
seized.
quite a lot, yeah.
This comes under DSR, DSR drug supply reduction. And the DDR is the main segment on which we are working. We are part of that. DDR is drug demand reduction, and drug demand reduction aims with two main objectives. That is community services and volunteer social welfare. And the youth ambassadorship program is comes under this, community community services. And
Wonderful.
Amazing. I mean,
And
that
we
is
are-
amazing. And, you know, all of these actions which have been taken by ANF, I think they're commendable too. So big round of applause for you guys.
Thank you.
But now, you know, there's the one thing which I wanted to ask, and that is, what type of drugs were being burned over there?
Like, from what, I mean, as in, so tell us, Kinza.
What type of drugs?
Yeah.
Like whatever they have been caught during the whole year, they have burned it.
And can,
Whatever they have.
Whatever they
Yeah.
have.
Everything.
and you were able to
Everything.
see it right in front
no,
of your
we
eyes?
were not able to see it because it's like a container which is covered with a cloth,
Yeah.
and we have to stay at a distance. We just the RDG, that is our Director General of Anti-Narcotics Force, they just burn it, and we youngsters and the whole audience and media have to stay at a distance.
And
Because
clap.
the cloth over the container, we could not see what's inside, but they are actually drugs which have been caught during the
Okay, that is brilliant. But now, as youth ambassadors, and you fall under the umbrella of DDR as well, what are your responsibilities?
Basically, ANF knows that our youth is our future, and
And
as
the
we
present. Stop saying
Yeah.
the future. You guys are the
Exactly.
now.
Exactly, we are the future leaders as well. So, youth, because Pakistani youth constitutes above 60% of the population,
Yeah.
and it's very alarming
It's in my
that our youth.
subconscious now.
But it's true. It's a very important point.
Exactly, and as we are seeing today that in our educational institutions, especially elite private institutions, the youth is very they are attracting towards drugs.
Okay.
Because our educational institutions are right now in a race, in a competition. They don't really, they are just like money making machines. They are just producing degrees. So
Okay.
they do not concentrate on that area.
Right. Okay. So we have got into a very important part of the discussion, but we have to go for a short break. When you come back, we will continue.
The largest cultural activity in Pakistan is the annual National Folk Festival, Lok Mela, held in Islamabad in October each year. Over the past 2 decades, this festival has taken on an international flavour, and more than 20 different countries have sent their artisans and performers to participate in the festival. Nationally, the festival has become a thing of pride for artisans and performers who come on their own to participate. Most important of all, the provinces of Pakistan and Azad Jammu and Kashmir put up beautifully decorated pavilions, and visitors had the unique opportunity to see an assortment of Pakistan's traditionally rich culture in the federal capital of Islamabad for an exciting 10 days. An exhibition of artisans at work under the banner of the Heritage Museum forms the core of this festival. Pavilions of each province depict their own regional culture and crafts. The Research and Media Centre of Lok Virsa arranges groups of dancers that perform all over the festival grounds, inviting visitors to join in, and in the evening arranges music concerts from all parts of Pakistan. This festival is a true depiction of the diversity found in Pakistani culture. Fairs and Festivals of Pakistan. The Festival of Lamps, or Mela Chiragha, is a very important and popular event in Pakistan. This is celebrated every spring on the last Friday of March outside the Shalimar Gardens.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we are talking about the ANF held a drug banning ceremony on Friday. Now we're talking about the youth and how they're all getting involved in drug reduction. Now, Kinza has highlighted before the break that especially within the private institutions, there has been an increase of drug usage. And we had that as well a couple of weeks ago on the show where, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds have now started turning to drugs. I mean, I didn't even know. It's really sad. But the thing is, now, I want to bring Sidra into the conversation. Kinza highlighted that preteens now, or what are they called, tweens?
Preteens or early teens.
Early teens now.
11
They are now starting to use, get involved with substance use and abuse. Why? What's happening?
Thank you so much, Maya. Before moving further, I just want to discuss some facts and figures with you. According to some studies and researches, 4.2 million of our population is involving in
not in a hurry, it's all right. Take it easy.
Right. 4.2 million of population of youth, and it's consisting of youth, is involving in drugs. Right. And what is the definition of drug addiction? Drug addiction is a compulsive and uncontrollable use of drugs. And in Pakistan, cannabis addiction is most common drug, and as well as opium or heroin and ecstasy drugs and other drugs are also very common. Okay. So drug addiction in Pakistan, we have to deal with the multiple patients like polydrug abuse, cannabis abuse, and heroin is the most common, and it's more adverse effect with the most adverse effect of drugs. Okay. Heroin is actually a physical impact of drugs. Physical consequences is very negative. So we are dealing with it. And as you know, 63%, as Kinza mentioned, 63% of our society is consisting upon the youth. So major chunk of youth is involving in the drugs, and there are multiple reasons.
What are they involved in? Like cannabis, heroin?
Yeah, cannabis, opium, and
actually
heroin.
Cannabis is the most usable drug now.
Okay.
We are just considering cannabis is not as much harmful as like the heroin, but cannabis is more psychological in nature. They can induce psychosis and paranoid symptoms in your personality.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Actually, paranoid symptoms are associated with cannabis,
Okay.
and psychological problems are created. Drug-induced psychosis is also a very important disorder.
Right. Now, you said there are multiple reasons as to why. Because to be honest, we know what major drugs are out there, and I'm not interested in how people are,
Yeah.
I want to know why they're doing it and how can we reduce it. So tell us.
Actually, there are multiple reasons of using drugs. The first thing is the negative peer pressure.
Yeah.
Actually, we are moving in a specific age group, so they are pressuring to just check it out. Or a stigma which is associated with the drug is feeling cool. So
Okay.
we are using drugs, so it's very adventurous or it's very cool phenomena. So they are
Okay,
using drugs.
But this is one thing I really wanted to highlight. You know how you mentioned that earlier, that some people think it's cool using drugs, but then there's also stigma attached to it too. You know, like people get judged for using drugs.
I mean, there are always two sides to the picture, Ma. Now,
Yeah.
for example, even that show on that day when we had a show, when people came in and they had some rehabilitation center, and they said that kids of 11 years, 16 years, 15 years, they're doing it. As a matter of fact, I made a point over there then. Now, this cool fact, where is it coming from? It's coming from glamorizing.
Glamorizing.
All of a sudden, I mean, I do not want to highlight it, but since it's for the awareness of people, in the last 3 decades, people have been, what have you been watching in movies? Cannabis, probably. All those
Well, I
drug
wasn't
lords. They have
allowed to
been,
watch those
yeah,
films.
they have been. I mean, they are there. So they have been smoking it. All of a sudden, the trends, when the trends change, you see that the trends change in the films as well.
Exactly.
And half of the time, I do not want to say it, but black
Don't
money
they?
is invested in films just to make it white.
Right.
Okay.
And then obviously they have their own agendas.
Right, and you're right, because like in the 30s, 40s, it was all about the cigarettes.
Yeah.
And even over here, I remember that K2.
Exactly.
He climbed a mountain, it looked super cool.
so cool.
Okay, now, Sidra highlighted a really important point that it seems cool. Now, Neelam, tell us, you guys are you're still students. What is happening within the schools? Is it a cool thing to try it, or do people get judged if they
Yeah.
become a druggie? Like, what's happening? Tell us.
Ma'am, I'll call it, it's a cultural issue.
Okay.
Media is projecting your culture on the screen, and we are following that. And if you are showing a person who's smoking and he is very rich, and he's very renowned, he has high status, then how can you expect that a person who is following that will not
But
follow
at
that?
least in
Okay.
England, if you're
This is-
smoking, you're rich.
Okay.
Like media is showing this.
Okay,
Like,
so
as you were
tell
saying,
me
yeah.
though, the impact on the kids. So put the media aside. We're not playing like we know the media has responsibility, but the youth. It's not just they've seen a film and they've started
Yeah.
doing drugs. It goes deeper than that. The fact is that they may not have enough activity. So one aspect is the media. What else are the students doing? Why are they turning to drugs? You guys, I want you to answer this
Yes,
question.
so ma'am, the other factor which I feel is socio-economic factor. I have a degree. For example, I have a degree, and my country is not progressing economically as it should be, and I am not getting a job.
Obviously, you'll be under stress.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not getting a job, and I am capable enough to.
Okay.
And then an element of frustration will pressurize my
Okay.
mind, and I'll want a relief point. I'll want relief.
Okay.
And drugs are meant for relief and all that. So
Oh, no,
these
they're
are the
not.
middle class.
Shazad,
Temporary.
we're serious right now. Wait, Ginzas, what about you? What do you think? Why do you think students, or especially with, like you said, private schools?
Exactly. One thing I have seen that students also want to show themselves, like our youth want to show themselves independent. They want to be cool, or they want to fit in the elite group. Some students also do this. They want to take drugs, or they take drugs because they want to show that they want to fit themselves in elite group.
So they're mature.
And, yes, and that's why they start using drugs. And I have one thing which I have many times seen, like when one friend is smoking, then he offers other friend, like, just try it once. Then one time that a friend tries, then it's a type of
Negative
what we
peer
say
pressure.
exactly. And then he or she start. And one thing which I've seen more is female students have also started using drugs more than that of the boys.
Okay,
today.
so that's your note. Well, okay,
Exactly.
so that's probably and
But
that's a psychological.
Yeah, but there's one more thing which I wanted
Social.
to say over here, and it's within our society as well. I mean, a person is always known by the company he keeps. Now, most of the times, I think earlier in the days, parents used to know each and every friend's name, who's coming to your place, whose place you're going to, and they'll have a diary, they'll have each and everyone's number. Now, at this point of time, they're not even bothered. Who's coming in, who's not
I don't
going
know if
out,
I'm
and what's
bothered.
happening.
Let's not-
No, because for example, you know, you can carry anything at your place. For example, okay, if you're scared of your parents, your friend will do that for you.
Okay.
I mean, there's no check and balance now these days on the kids as well.
And Shahzad, our youth is just want to escape from the harsh reality of life, and as well as they feel
Well, it's getting
player.
harder day
It's a
by day,
player-seeking behavior to use drugs.
Okay,
So
yeah.
they are using drugs, and parental check and balance and monitoring is not present as previous they were.
Okay. Now, the thing is, I don't think we should be so, you know, it's not a blame game here. We're trying to find out solutions and why are these things there. Now, you know, parents might not be able to do the check and balance because, like you said, the socioeconomic pressures are so much there. So the father's working all the time because inflation's going up, you know, prices are skyrocketing, so he has to work. The mother is running 24/7, she's not getting a break. So what are they supposed to do? And not everyone is elite, you know. Over 50% are in the rural communities. They are the youth, and they are also frustrated.
And Ma, half of the time, you made a very valid point. Half of the time, these days, what is happening is, and I'm being very honest and blunt over here, that kids are doing it because of the fact that they've seen their parents doing it. Now, this is half of the time. Now, at this point of time, this is what the problem is.
Okay, Shahzad really wants to talk about the parental
Yeah,
factor.
we need to,
So
because
let's tell
parenting
us.
plays a very important role.
So tell us, Sidra. So what's happening with that?
Actually, the peer pressure and the parental control is very important, and the vital points is here. When we use the drug, there are the 5 dimensions which affects the individual life. The first one is the physical factor. The second one is the psychological factor, and the emotional health is also unstable, and the spiritual effect is as well. So we have to consider all the 5 dimensions, either it's physical effects or psychological effect, and we have to introduce all these consequences to our youth. What are the negative consequences of drug use?
Okay.
One last thing, but psychologically, what happens is that if you've seen any of your elder brother, sister, mother, or father doing all of these drugs, you think subconsciously that, you know, it's okay to do it.
Okay, you know, but that's the thing. Most people that I've met whose family are abusing substances, the kids stay away from it because they've seen the negative
I mean, if
detriment
they-
effect.
but
But
if-
they have to have the opportunity to get out of it.
Yes.
Now, tell me, Sidra, we've mentioned, you know, people have economic issues, there's social issues. Now, these things, you know, the government are trying to do their role, the social society is trying to do their role, but it's a slow process and it is taking time. How do we deter the youth from drugs? Because escaping these harsh realities, it's not going to be immediate. It takes time. So how are we going to, you know, inspire them to kind of try something different?
We can provide positive and productive platform for our youth. We
Okay.
can engage them in positive and healthy activities like
give me
sports
examples. Okay.
sports activities, exercises, and we can provide platforms like where they can display their strength, their aptitude, and their interest. So we can involve our youth in positive direction, not
Okay.
in negative direction.
No, but to probably make them be on the positive direction or in the right way, I think what we need to do is that we need to make all of these facilities cheaper than the drugs. That's what we need to do.
That's a very good point. Okay, now Neelam's shaking her head. You agree. So tell us, how do we create different activities and avenues for the youth?
Okay, ma'am, I'll highlight
Maha,
ANF.
call me Maha, it's okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, Maha. I'll highlight the activities that ANF organized. ANF organized activities under the head Learning with Fun.
Wonderful.
Like ANF organize hiking, and we deliver lectures on anti-drug
While you were
and all
hiking.
that. Yeah, exactly. And it's very it's cheaper. It's cheaper too, and it's learning with fun too. And you are creating awareness. We also arrange awareness sessions in our universities. We arrange awareness walks, and these are not.
So the ANF are very active in campaigns for the
Exactly,
youth.
yeah,
Okay, now tell us, Kinza, do people turn up to these hikings and to these talks?
Exactly, they do. At first, I'll give my own example of my own
Please do.
friends. at start when I used to call them for hiking and for such awareness sessions, they used to say, "Oh, Kinza, please."
Yeah.
Like we have so much burden of studies on us, and now this thing, I don't know how do you do that. But when I started motivating them, and when they seen me doing that, they also started attracted towards that.
Okay.
And now they are also ANF ambassadors. But before that, they were like, "Oh, Kinza, please," and now
Okay.
they are with me as well.
And
Wonderful.
other than anti-narcotic force, obviously they're doing a fabulous job. And most of the time, in fact, all the time we say that, we need to figure out what's happening on the grassroots. But now I think I've got a very clear message for all those law enforcement agencies who are out there. May it be our police department, may it be the other forces as well. Now the thing is that half of the time you're catching, I'm probably directing it towards the police department of Islamabad, what I've witnessed over here, and that is half of the time they catch the user.
Okay.
They do not catch the supplier who's over here.
Okay.
And now, when you catch the user, what you do is you probably go take him to the local thana and put him in the jail, right? But what you need to do is that you guys have actually given permission to those suppliers to supply too. So now please be serious about what you're supposed to do and stop bugging all of those normal citizens who are just getting it because you let them do it.
Yeah, because so basically there's, it's a supply chain, right,
Yeah.
that needs to be broken. Now, you guys said that you have arranged, the ANF also part of arranging seminars and hiking. That's wonderful. But that, you guys represent a certain part of the society. What are you guys doing to reach out to the mass youth, like the more rural communities, the people who don't have proper education?
Or they're not your
or
friends.
are you guys,
Okay.
are you not getting involved with them?
Ma'am, I
Maha.
Okay.
They call me
okay,
ma'am.
Maha, I belong to a rural area.
Great,
Okay, yeah,
okay.
our ambassadors belong to 4 of areas of Gilgit, Kohat. Our one of our ambassador, his name is Awais. He came for the drug burning ceremony from Kohat.
Wonderful.
So yeah, we have active members of ambassadors. Over like 5,000 active
But
youth
that's
ambassadors
great. But
in the whole
then,
country.
if you guys are active members, what is your orientation or the type of thing you have to do in your own area, and what do you do though? What
Right.
activities do you undergo?
Okay, like in our universities, we used to arrange sessions, and ANF just push up and back is just our back
Facilitator, they're there to
is
support you.
just a support or a facilitator. And we used to arrange our seminars. We used to arrange talks, awareness sessions in our universities, even in our class, and our social media. Our social media is very everyone is interacting on social media, and we used to share the facts and figures and even the awareness messages on social media and through cellular networks too.
Okay.
So that's great.
Excellent.
And since Maha actually made a point that how do you reach out to rural or the masses, we'll talk about that later. But I want to move on to Sidra right now. Sidra, we're talking about all of those drugs which are intoxicating, right? Now half of the time over here in urban areas, what is happening is, since we love to call ourselves the elite, or the best part of the society, the segregation is
Everybody
there.
doesn't call
What
themselves
people
elite.
are starting to do is that without even a prescription, they're getting medicines
Addiction.
and they're addicted to that, and
we had that,
majority
yeah.
of that is women.
Actually,
Xanax, all these like different programs.
Actually, self-medication is also considered as the legal drug abuse. So we are abusing unconsciously.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
they're still druggies and drug users. By the way, that doesn't make you better because you're using pharmaceutical drugs to abuse. You're still a drug user.
Because we have a low amount of awareness, and we just want to prescribe cell phone medicine, and we have it's an easy way to get medicine as soon as possible. So we are using it, and without knowing what is the negative consequences of drug use.
Okay.
So medicine addiction is very harmful, and it's more harmful as compared to heroin and opium and cannabis addiction.
Okay, why?
Because the intensity and the usage is not predetermined, so you can use on your own will.
Like
Actually,
it
that's
can
a
be
very good
250
point.
mg, 500 mg.
That's a really good point. No, tell me one thing. Okay, so like you said, there's another aspect of it. That's another society where people are self-medicating. We're focusing on youth right now.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about different activities that the youth can take part in to kind of distract themselves and etc. But we do lack those platforms for youth because of the whole integration issue. Parents don't want their kids interacting, etc. Now, there's also that stigma attached to having therapy or going to a psychologist. what can we do to raise awareness that, okay, maybe social pressure, maybe some problems at home that have led that child. You know, they're not always doing it for fun. Some people have trouble. As a psychologist, what would you recommend? How do we break the stigma? How do we talk to the kids?
Maha, when we are talking about the drug addiction, the drug abuser is so helpless and he is feeling so worthless as well.
Yeah.
So we just consider it's a duty and it's a duty of an addict to stay away from the drugs. But it's a mutual correspondence and a mutual understanding between the effort which the drug addict is doing is very important, but the social role and the parental role and the friend's role is very important.
Exactly.
So we have to consider all these dimensions. Either it's a psychological, either it's a social, either it's a physical, it's a economical, and it's a spiritual. So we have to consider all 5 dimensions, and we have to try to sort out all the problem who is facing by drug addicts.
Okay.
That is very wisely said. And over here, I would love to make another point, and that point is, now, for example, if somebody's got AIDS, HIV, somebody's got cancer, somebody's got malaria, somebody's got tuberculosis.
Hepatitis.
The thing is that they're not in denial, first of all. They go to the doctor, they accept it, and they get the treatment done. Now, while they're getting this treatment done, obviously the society is not throwing them or cornering them away just because of the fact that you've got a disease. Now, this is what we need to do in terms of, for example, if somebody's abusing drugs. Now, for example, somebody's having hashish or whatever, you know, whatever drug he's addicted or she's addicted to, what we need to do is that we do not need to probably, you know, insult that person
Or their family, or their
or their
parents.
family, that, you know, oh my God, look at what you've done. It's just because of the fact that you didn't really
Raise them and all the stuff.
raise them perfectly and stuff like that. Now that's embarrassing for parents, first of all. And then on the second place, it gets embarrassing for the kid or the son or the daughter because of the fact that he thinks that my parents are getting insulted because of me. I think this is what we need to change.
Well,
We need to accept it as a disease and we need to get rid of it.
Exactly, because in the West now, addiction is seen as a disease. Now, okay, so I want to ask Kinza and Neelam this, because you guys are working with the youth. You're setting, you know, you guys have the power to shape the mentality of the future for the future generations. Now, there's stigma attached. Now, you guys are raising awareness within your student bodies about drug usage is bad. But when someone does come out, the stigma attached to that, they all get shunned by most people if they say, yes, I'm an addict. Because it's all cool when you're doing it together, but then some people fall down that pothole and they become addicts. What do you guys do to raise awareness that, you know, let's all be inclusive, let's all stick together? What are you guys working on? Tell us.
Basically, as Ma'am Sidra has also mentioned that ANF has 3 rehab centers, one in Islamabad, one in Karachi and one in Quetta, and there are 45 beds rehab centers, and the poor and underprivileged drug addicts are treated free of cost, and they are also taught in addition to the treatment of that drug addicts, they are also taught useful skills so that when they get back from that rehab centers, they can earn their living with honor and can be termed as useful member of the society.
Wonderful.
That is a wonderful thing. And Maha, I want to add one thing more, because we are representing ANF,
No, you
Yes,
cannot.
please.
ANF Youth Ambassadors. ANF has also launched the 2 very big projects of ANF. That is one ANF Youth Ambassadorship Program, and the other is ANF Internship Program for the students who graduate from universities. And that is a very big and cool thing. So it's a message from me as ANF ambassador that those students who get graduated from university, they should try this, because it's a very good platform and a very positive platform for the Pakistani youth.
What is this internship program?
Basically, like they can be the coordinators of ANF, like they can be interns in terms of that, and they can also be the ambassadors as well, representing ANF in many other platforms. Like we have anti-drug walks, we have awareness sessions in different universities, colleges, schools.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Just work
That is.
experience.
Yeah, that is
people.
beautiful. One last thing which I wanted to ask from Sidra, and that is that, you know, they mentioned about rehabs and they're for free as well. You know, there's no cost to it for the underprivileged. But the statistics say that all of those people who went to rehabs, majority of them have got a relapse.
Shehzad, actually, drug addiction is a relapse prevention disease. It's a
Yes.
relapsable disease. So 99.9% are chances the drug addicts might be relapse. So we can't say that it's a curable disease or it's a disease which we can't we can say we
It's
can't.
not cure, because once you're an addict, you're always a recovering addict, aren't you?
So So we can prevent them, so we can introduce the negative consequences of drug use, but we can't stay positive and stay
No,
productive
what
as
I'm
well.
trying to ask is, don't you think that by this point of time we should have realized that this is not the right method to treat it? I think so. I mean, for example, if you've been sending people to rehabs, there are
That's all you can
rehabilitation
do.
centers. Yeah, that means that you do not have any other choice to treat it
No,
with.
but that's the thing with that addiction. It's a psychological treatment. It's a social
Physical.
treatment. And it's also up to that one individual to actually want to get better. So it's
So
not,
this is what
but
I'm
it's
saying,
not-
that there can
but
be
it's
other
not-
methods of it.
No, but that's the thing. It's not like it's not like AIDS and it's not like hepatitis where you just take medicine for it. This is much more deeper.
No, but there can be other methods. That's what I'm saying. For example, if we,
They try
from now
that.
on, if we try to celebrate our heroes, all those unsung heroes who are in Pakistan who've done so much, and I mean, they've made Pakistan proud. If we get them out there,
Yeah.
and they get to talk with all those people, because everybody loves cricket.
Yes, sir.
If for example, Amir is going to come on television or go to each person and say, that might help.
So what do you think? So tell us, Neelam.
Yeah, we do invite our celebrities, like if I mention
You
Sohail
never
Tanveer.
invited
Please tell us.
Sohail Tanveer, our ex-champion,
yeah.
hockey champion, and former cricketers, they do come. And in this ceremony, there were Sohail Tanveer and other cricketers and hockey champion. They were there, and they offered their services that we are ready to work with ambassadors too, even. Yes,
Great.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we have actually run out of time, but Siddha, I want you to share one last message with all the parents watching. How can they, if they see a change in the kid's behavior, how can they gently and kindly bring their child back on the right path or keep them away from negatives?
Or accept it themselves first.
Yeah.
As a youth, we are the dreamer of tomorrow and the future.
No,
of
today, guys. Stop saying tomorrow. Today.
and we are the future and present of Pakistan.
Yes.
So we have to say we say no to drugs and stay healthy and think positive. It's a message for youth. And for the parental advice, I just want to say keep check and balance on your children and provide
Check the drawers, wallets, everything.
Yeah.
and provide them care and assistance and to facilitate them as well as.
Wonderful. Okay, so and from the
As
youth
the youth
ambassadors,
ambassadors too, yeah.
what's your message, Kinza?
My message is that whenever you see such activity in your friends, or then do counter it.
Okay.
And one very big message from Pakistani youth and all those people who are saying is that the drug addicts should not be neglected or alienated from the society, because they are also a part of our society. So they should not be seen with like, oh my God, he or she is a drug addict now, and we should neglect it. And one thing I want to mention about the achievement of ANF, the last thing, that is that following the footstep of ANF, UN has also included the ANF ambassadorship program in its long-term project. That is a huge honor
ANF has done a great
not
job.
only for ANF but for the whole nation.
Wonderful.
Exactly. And my message would be that I never felt how a self-satisfaction felt like since I started community services. So I would request to all youth to come forward for the community services and community work, so that you can feel the self-satisfaction. So that we can mutually make our country a drug-free country.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. And we've run out of time, but it's very important that our messages today, obviously stay away from drugs, but also stay away from smoking, because they say that a lot of people do, there's an argument out there, but smoking is the first step to harder substances. But it also depends on your personality, depends on your surroundings. Don't be judgmental. Everyone has their problems, but if someone needs help, just help them.
And that was a public service message from the platform of PTV World. But one last thing to wind it up, and to all of those drug addicts who are out there and who can listen to me and who can watch me on their television screens, one thing, it's you who know that you're doing it. The only thing you have to do it, that probably, as Sidra mentioned, that you get under stress when you do it and stuff like that. Please stop thinking negative about your own self. Pick yourself up. Be the light.
Exactly. And don't let anyone let you think otherwise. With that, log on to our Facebook fan page,
Which is with the name of World This Morning.
our Twitter page,
World This Morning without a G.
our Daily Motion and YouTube page,
World This Morning once again.
and the repeat of that.
11 p.m.
Have a wonderful day, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow.
Pakistan Zindabad.